Yeah, please we start. Please we start. We will record the video, then we will send that. Doing?
Yeah.
We will record the video and we will send to remaining people. They are not might be aware.
Oh, they didn't come. Okay.
No problem. Vinay is there.
Shall we start?
Yeah. Vinay will be.
Okay. So one people are there, right? One person is there, right?
There.
Uh,
Vinay having some other girls, so he will send it to them.
okay. Okay. I don't know. Is there anyone now joined
Yeah, one guy is
or
joined. Vinay is joined.
they joined? Okay.
Yeah, another some other guy is also want to join.
Okay. Then. Just coming. Okay. Shall I start? Right?
Yeah. You start.
Um. Yeah. 1 minute. Let me join in the call. Uh. Hi. Today we're going to see about uh, Linux administration topics. So during a demo session, I just explained the topics that we're going to cover as part of administration. I said right, the role is like combination of administrator, middleware admin, build admin, and ops operations. So when I explained about the administration, I said the most of the job was gone to the company which is managing the cloud. So the roles like installing an operating system and managing applications and managing hardware issues is gone to them. So only few part of roles is still being on system administrators. We got to see such roles as part of the sessions. Uh, yeah, even though we have many tools for DevOps, still as administration knowledge is still required for managing the work. It's because even though if you managing the system through tool, for example, you can still install a web application Apache using a Chef or Ansible. But there are some places you may also get into the machine and troubleshoot the things, which is not, which can't be done through monitoring tool or any other tool. So basically, you need to know what's happening in the machine. For that, you need to know how system works, how application works. So today we're going to see about Linux administration. I hope you know the basic of Linux, and at least you know what is Linux. Am I right? Or if you need the basic of Linux, like an operating system, I can still go with the very basics. Are you okay to go with basic, or do you want me to skip? So you can just confirm using chat if anything. Okay. I just take it as an S. So I'll just go with the basics. Let's say, like, if you think it's very basic, then, sorry, you're saying something? I think so. Okay. So you know about Linux? It's an inspiration of Unix, which is started in the year 1991 by a student Linus Torvald. So, what makes the need of Linux is usually people, I mean, the early days people prefer to use Unix operating systems, but when days goes on, when people started working on their own application, I mean creating their own application, they need to understand how operating system runs. So being proprietary, Unix is not a proper machine for managing applications, because there are some places you may not be understanding the system. It's because proprietary. A part of system is encrypted. You may not know what happens inside the machines. So which makes students, I mean, which makes some kind of people to ignore Unix and made the need of creating a new operating system which is open. That's how Linux have started. So Linus has created their own operating system. I mean, he didn't create the whole operating system; he just created a kernel systems, kernel of Linux, and then he distributed a code to people in the major colleges. So people have adapted, I mean, students have adapted the code and made the changes and returned back the code to him. And once the code which he got is framed and released in an operating system called Linux. So since many people have acquired the code, some of them have created their own operating system using the code. So that's how Linux have got many distribution. What I'm trying to say, when you say about Windows 7 and Windows 8 or Macintosh or a Mac, right? So what happened? Its owner is only one person. For example, if I say Unix, it's a Sun Solaris system, Sun Microsystem. So if it is in a Windows 7, it's like a Microsoft. If it is a Mac, it's Apple. So when I say Linux, you can't say in one company. Yeah, when I say Linux, I can say Linux can be given by Linux can be provided by Red Hat, Ubuntu, Caldera, Fedora, CentOS, Scientific Linux, OpenSUSE, Mint, Linux, many more. The list goes up to 300. What does it mean? Many companies are releasing their own Linux operating systems. There are difference in using each distribution. What would be the difference is the way in which they created an operating system. What I meant is, when I say Red Hat, it's designed. The Linux was designed in such a way that it optable. It is adapted for server operating system. I mean, that Linux will have application which are related with server, say Apache or MySQL, MongoDB. Okay, the system is designed in a way which is such that it can support server application. When you see about Ubuntu, it is meant for desktop. The same way with other operating systems, Fedora, Debian and all. But when you go to corporate, there are few operating systems which is widely used by people. They are Ubuntu, Red Hat, CentOS, or sometimes Fedora. These are majorly used operating systems. In that, most people prefer to use Red Hat. It's because Red Hat is owned by a company called Red Hat. They are similar to Microsoft. Red Hat is adopted by most number of companies. It's because you may get a support if you stuck in in any part of your application issues. For example, if your application is not performing as expected when you install in a machine. So when you go with other operating system in Linux, you may not get support. You can go with forum, but you may not get dedicated support for it. But as in case of Red Hat, there are people working on that, so you will be getting you will be addressed with the issues. When you address the issues, you will be getting support from them. Red Hat was widely used by many companies, and Red Hat has two sister concerns. One is CentOS, another one is Fedora. So what are those? What Red Hat does? Red Hat used to release their operating system in every 6-month cycle. There will be an update in every 6 months. Just 1 minute. So yeah, back to so yeah. So Red Hat used to release their operating system every 6 months with with the minor updates. So what they are doing is they are not releasing in the name of Red Hat. So what they're doing is they are releasing as the tag name of CentOS. What happened? The people who use the CentOS will update the operating system with the new changes which is released by Red Hat. So when they encounter any issues, a performance issue or any logical issues or any issues which is related with the operating system or related with applications, the issue will be raised as a bug against Red Hat. So once they solve with all the bugs and they find the system is stable, they release it in the name of Red Hat. So the features which you see in Red Hat will also be used in CentOS. So this time you may have a doubt, like then how come they will find the difference? Even still, whatever see in the Red Hat will still be in the CentOS, right? Then what will be the difference of using the both? The difference is you may not get in CentOS, you may get support in Red Hat. That's the only difference. The rest of the thing will be same. Okay. So let's go with Red Hat now. Sorry, you're going to use CentOS, which is similar to Red Hat. Okay. I just want to know, are you familiar with the basic Linux commands, or you want to know about it? You can just confirm with chat. Like, do you have knowledge on basic Linux, cat, ls, cd? Do you have knowledge on it, or do you want me to explain it? Hi, Neeraj. Okay, sure. Okay, let me go with the basics. No problem. So if you think it's very basic, you can ask me to skip. Okay, that's all. Right? Okay then. The first part, the moment you get into the mission, so wherever you're working, the moment you have to get into the mission, right? Whether you know if you are familiar with the mission or not, the first thing you need to confirm, it's no problem. First thing we need to confirm what operating system you are into. Okay, there are two ways to do that. One is cat etc. There is a file called Red Hat release. If you are into CentOS or Red Hat, you may have this file. Even Fedora, you may have this file where you can find the version system. And as in case, and one more area also you can do. Here is also places where you can check it. So you may see about what releases it is, but it is not as direct like this file name. So you just go ahead with etc Red Hat release. If it is an Ubuntu or Debian, you'll be having a file Red Hat LSB release, which will not be there in this machine. So now it is not there, but when you are logging into Ubuntu machine, you may see this structure. Okay, and then what architecture you are into. Okay, so architecture is x86-64. You may know about these things, I guess. There are two architecture available in an operating system. One is 64-bit, another one is 32-bit. As in case of Linux, there are many i386, i686, and x86, and also 64, and many more. And even though the i686 and x86-64, i386 and i686 both are similar to same, the major difference will be x86-64 and 32-bit. You can consider as a 32-bit. So what is the difference between 32-bit and 64-bit? The word itself says there will be like a, for execution difference between the doors. It will store only 32-bit. It can store up to 64-bit. The execution will be faster and twice the 32-bit. Okay, so then and also you need to know, like for 64-bit, when you have 64-bit machine, you can install 32-bit software and also 64-bit software. But as in case of 64-bit, it's a 32-bit, you can only install 32-bit. 64-bit will not be allowed there. In Windows, now we're going to see about folder structure. In Windows, when you click computer, you're able to see all the partition in one place, right? The same way, in Linux, you can see all the folder structure in one place, that is slash. Slash is also called TLD, top level domain, where other folders will be created below slash. Okay, so every folder will be given below slash. Okay. So simultaneous note on the number command that I am typing, that will be easy for you. To see the size of disk which I am using is fdisk-l. So it will show the list of disks with many information which we don't like to see. Right? I just want to see the disk name and size it's being used. If you want, so grab this. This is actually our disk, which is mounted with 10 GB. Okay. So why I'm saying this? It's because your hard disk, we have only one hard disk, the rest is something mounted, so it is not needed right now. So every disk, so only one disk is mounted, under which all the folders were installed. I mean, it is only one disk mounted on it. It means the 10 GB, actually 10 GB is not used. 8.1 GB is utilized under slash. So when I say about slash, all the folders are created under slash, which is created under 8.1 GB. So the sizes you can say for the 10, this all folder is 8.1 GB. 8.1 GB is the space allocated for all the slash folder. So whichever consuming the most, which is consuming the highest in the disk. Okay. So as in case of Windows, you may see for each folder, I have a partition, they have different sizes. But as in case of Linux, everything coming under one disk. But still, you can allocate spaces for each folder, like it does in Windows. E drive has separate partition, separate for spaces, right? Likewise, in Windows, Linux, you can also allocate spaces for each folders. Okay, that we can see later. Let me go into folder structure. I guess you may know CD. CD is a change directory. So where am I? PWD, present working directory. I am under slash. If I want to go to certain folder, under slash CD etc. You may see here ls is to list files and folders in the particular location. So see, when I put ls, I am able to see all the contents. If I want to go to into particular folder, CD etc. I can go to the location in two ways. Either I can go to slash and then etc, or you can go to directly slash etc. Both are same. PWD. CD double dot will come one folder down. One folder down is slash. Where am I? I am in the slash. To go to the previous folder where I was before, CD under slash. Okay. CD under slash, and then what else? We'll go to the structure directly. Okay. So the first folder we're going to see is bin. ls bin. What is a bin? The command which we are typing, right? ls, cd, and pwd. These are nothing but these commands are nothing but a script which is stored in some location. Example, in Windows, you are typing some software name and you are getting something in the searching, right? How the machine is getting it? It's because the location was defined in a path from which you are getting everything. My computer, properties, advanced system settings, environmental variable, I am copying whatever inside. Let me paste it and show you what is there. What is this? I just pasted something, right? What is this? This is the places where we have stored all the software. You have installed some software, right? This is something which is stored, which is mentioned all the software names. Okay, this is something like all the location of the software which is installed in a machine, right? That is being located here. That's how Windows is able to pick up all the commands. Likewise, in Linux, all the location of the software or the command that you are typing is stored in path location. Echo is something like print. $path. Path is something called environmental variable. This is generic term which is available in all the operating system in Windows 2. So the path is set user bin, user has bin has bin. What is this? The Linux, all the commands are stored in bin. Normal user using commands are stored in bin. Example ls. You say I say ls, right? So ls is stored in bin ls. Which command is tell you where the command is located. Okay, so you may see the normal commands, normal user using commands will be stored in ls, sorry, bin. Okay, it's stored in bin. Super user using commands, I mean super user is the command something used by only the administrator will be reside under sbin, that is sbin, super bin. Out of example, which user add? User add something which is used by users, I mean administrators, not the normal user. A normal user can't add other user, right? So wherever you go, only an administrator will have the privileges of it. So the user, now you see the location of file, it is under sbin. Okay, there are two sbin, bin will be there location, and bin can be there in many location, but I just want you to understand wherever you see bin, you can understand the bin will be utilized by normal user, and wherever you see in sbin, that is utilized for super user. That's how the machine has been designed. Okay, even the people may I mean they may have the combination of bin and sbin file content in the same file, but Linux has suggested to differentiate this with this name. So it's up to the individuals to follow that, but Linux have defined to use it. Okay, and then sbin you see, and then go with the library lib. So whatever is seen, bin and sbin. The next one is libraries lib. So you heard about libraries, right? The command whatever you are using, right, it's not a single command. I mean the code is not completed with these files. We have many files, right? It doesn't mean that the fgrep command will have all the code. If you copy the fgrep and if you paste it in some location, it would work. It may not also. It's because it is not a complete code. It's a code which is dependent on some libraries. How to see led fgrep? It's dynamically. 1 minute. Yeah, I guess so. Here it is. This binary has some libraries loaded. These libraries are stored in lib64. I mean, it has some libraries dependency which is in lib64. So what I'm trying to say, there are two libraries in the location. One is lib, another one is lib64. During your starting of session, I just said there are two types of software available in Linux. One is 64 and 32-bit based on your machine. So when you are using 64-bit operating system and the machine, you have 64-bit software installed. You have option of installing 64-bit software. So there are, for that, when you install 64-bit software, all the content of the software will reside under lib64. And if you, as in case of 32-bit, it reside under lib, just a lib. Okay. Another one is etc. What is etc? etc is a folder location where all the configuration related to operating system will be there. This etc folder, even it is in Windows. Okay, what this folder represent? Whatever it represent, all the things related to an operating system. If you want to add an IP address, the file would be there. If you want to add the user, the file would be there. If you want to add the partition, the file would be there. Everything will be in this file. This location is very important location. When you get a chance to have a free time, just go through the file to see, get to know what are those. For example, if I add a user, the user information will be stored in password. I hope you know the cat command is to see the content of a file. Cat password, it shows the content. You may see the user which is added will be the user information. So likewise, it has all the information about the configuration file. So what I want you to understand, when people say to tune something, the first thing you need to go to is etc folder. Okay, it's a configuration related with your operating system. Another one is what we can go boot. Usually what people used to do, they used to have a boot in separate partition. It may not be in a single partition. As in case of C, slash is mounted under this device. So it means it is been allocated with a single partition. Even though it's a single partition, all the folders are there. The boot is been separated with another partitions is DA1. Why? It's because boot is very important files. If it is get corrupted, it will not allow the machines to boot up. So without boot, your machine can't boot up. So this folder is considered to be very important folder as in case of system boot. What these folder contain is uh, I'm not sure whether you may heard about this. When you install an operating system, you will be getting a prerequisite from the site saying at least you should have 4 GB of RAM to run this application, or 2 GB of RAM to run the application. It's because 2 GB of RAM is needed for installing application. Why? It's because there are some sizes needed to keep the operating system in the RAM. See, when an operating system boot up, right, you can't just boot all the files which are stored in hard disk because it may not be a fast execution. So what does it need then? It will need to copy a certain part of a files of the operating system in the RAM, so that during execution, during the starting of a machine, the system will boot up with the RAM. Once the operating system boot up with preliminary file loader, you try to find the files, try to load the services which are there in other part of an operating system. Okay, so what this file says, they have compressed a part of an operating system and stored in this location. IMG, the file init RAM file system. Init RAM file system is needed for operating system boot up. What happens when system boots? The RAM will copy this file and it will execute the basic operating system. It has a basic operating system which has the basic file needed for an operating system to boot up. In 8 to 7 to 8 years before, there is a two type of operating system is widely used by people. One is called boot volume and another one is called complete operating system. What is boot volume is, it will be boot the machine with the initial operating system. Why do we need this file? It will be used for repairing the operating system. Even in Windows they used to have. If you have corrupted the Windows, right, if you would have approached people who used to service a laptop, you may see they have boot volumes. Sometimes you may get into the issue says your machine is not booting up, completely black, nothing will boot up. When you start boot up, it won't boot up. It says in a kernel error or kernel panic or something. So what happens is, the problem is it is actually not able to find your kernel to boot up initially. So that's actually issues. That's the actual issues. It is not boot up with the. It is not able to find folder and files for booting up. So what they used to do, they mount the boot volume in your machine and they boot the machine, because boot volume, when you boot with the boot disk, it will have the initially boot with the boot volume which is there in the disk. I mean, instead of taking from the hard disk, it mount it from the DVD drive and boot up. And then what they will do, they will manually point it out the files in the operating system to boot up. Okay, this is actually there as, so those file information will be there in the boot folder. It's considered to be one of the very important folder in this. Next one is home. This is something like in Windows. In Windows, you may see users, right? Where all the users was stored. Likewise in Linux, all the normal user will be stored in /home. /home will have all the normal users. I said about the super user, administrator, right? His folder location is ls root. Okay. The next folder we're going to see are /dev. There will be a myth saying Linux doesn't need a driver. When you install an operating system in a Linux operating system in a laptop, people keep on saying that it doesn't affected by virus and it doesn't need any drivers. Okay, it's not actually true. It does need everything. It does have a, it has a virus. It has also drivers needed for your operating system. I'll tell you what is driver, what driver need. Okay. Basically, your operating. Why do we need an operating system? First thing, why do we need an operating system? Why can't we use machine languages to use it? I mean, binaries to use communicate with the operating system with your hardware. Still, it's possible. Like how the basic system works, right, in a calculator or any devices. So, why do we need an operating system? Is we can't understand binary for a long time, right? So if you want to code something, you can't code it for zeros and ones for a long time. It's not possible. You can't use it. So that you need to know basic. For that operating system helps. The way like when you want to run a code, you'll be writing the code in the operating system with any compiler. The operating system convert that high level language into low level languages, and then it will get the result from the system and it will send back to the people through the console where they are typing. This is how it works. So basically your operating system can understand your basic hardware in your laptop. It means RAM, CPU, hard disk and bus system. Service bus, right? Bus channels. The bus channel is the channel which used to connect all the hardware. It can understand the basic system, but it can't understand your player. I mean your what is it? The graphics card that you have in your laptop and your monitor sizes, right? The monitor drivers. So the I mean display drivers. It may not understand that thing. That's why people used to do whenever they create a new hardware, they used to write the code and deliver along with the operating system. A few years before, people used to use XP. I don't know how far you may experience it. When you use XP, after installing operating system, people used to install all the drivers. Okay, but nowadays in Windows and what happens? They are coming along with the operating system itself. So you don't have to install a separate hardware. It means that during the operating system creation itself, they would have added all the drivers which is needed for the which are they will add all the driver which are on the period. For example, if you are using a Windows 7 which is released a year before, then you will be able to, your machine can able to recognize all the hardware which is used, which is created before 2010, before that period. Okay. So if you want to use a latest software, latest hardware, for example, if you are using Chrome chip, if you are inserting Chrome chip, it may not be able to understand because it doesn't have a driver file which is for Chrome. Then what you'll do, you will install the Chrome driver file and then your machine get recognize it. But how Linux works is the same way like how Windows 7 works. Linux from the starting period itself, what people used to do when they create a hardware, they add the driver file for in Linux, but it's not happening in Windows XP. But Linux, they have started adding all the hardwares, all the drivers file. That's why people are not installing driver file Linux for most of the time. Okay, but there are some cases Linux do need a driver installation. So those driver will be stored in Linux. So whenever a new device has been inserted in the system, the driver file related for the device will be loaded in this location. So what is the use of using this location? There are many things are there. For example, my hard disk name will start with SDA. Okay, ls sd ls sd. This is my disk drivers for my disk. When ls, you may see major number, minor number. I don't know whether it may needed, just you can understand it. What does it mean? I have SDA drive and I have major number on it. So it means that the 8 is the primary number which represent hard disk, and zeros are secondary number which represent partition in the hard disk, partition in other hard disk, partition and the other hard disk. So 8 represent the disk. Okay, to see what are the disk in the machine, you can also grab 8. It's giving the combination away, but you can still take it up. See, the disk is represented 8. Hard disk is represented as 8. RAM disk is represented as 1. So something different. Okay. So I don't want to get more deeper into it. Basically, I just want you to understand the drivers for the initial files will be stored in a device. And another one is proc. It's very important file in Linux, but most people fail to provide importance for this folder. I'll tell you what it is. Linux, this file is called pseudo file system. What does that mean? These files, the content in the files is keep on changing every second. Every second is getting changed. Let me get you an example. What I'm doing is I'm just going to open a file within every 0 seconds. It's keep on opening the file. If also you can use what I have to. Info. It's not changing. I just opened the file. Every second I just opening the file. You may see the difference in the numbers count. What does it mean? This file is responsible for collecting all the details about an memory. What memory does, what it's happening. Okay. So what about now? Every second it's opening the file and the value is getting changed. Right? Every second it's opening and the value is getting changed. So this file represent a folder which getting changed every seconds. Okay, this is called proc system. It has information about your all hardware related things. So cat info, mem info shows the memory information. CPU info will store say about CPU information, how many hard disk, how many CPU you have, what is the process number, what are the flags it can support. So what is your speed? Everything will be mentioned in this location. Another folder is slash, let's see the important folders, user. What is user? See, apart from a normal user, I said the user using commands, ls, CPU, and all the commands will be stored in bin and sbin. Okay. So apart from this, these commands will be coming along with the operating system. When operating system installed, those commands will be stored in it. But as in case of some software which is not there in your machine and you're installing, as a user, if you're installing certain software, the software binaries and libraries will be stored in /user. You may see exact structure what you see in the slash will be seen under /user. Bin, sbin, lib64. Like it means that whatever you see inside slash, right, it is also there in etc user, sorry, /user, which stores the software which is related to user. Nowadays what people are doing, even they are keeping other commands which used to be there in the user is storing in their I mean the other commands. For example, the user add used to be in /sbin, but now Linux has changed the position to user sbin. So it is also a combination of normal user command and super user command which we stored in here, but are mostly related with user, normal users. And then we'll go with where. Where is a folder which stores about logs of your machine, log and mail of your machine. As of now, whatever happened in a machine, right, that will be stored in the log. So these are the system log. So it will store all the activities which is happening now. For example, boot log will show what happened to your system when system get boot. So say some fail, some it is on. So everything will be stored in that. It is for future reference. If something is not added in a machine, you may use this file to understand what happened, what have gone wrong in the location. And another one is, the last one is sys. Linux has kernel. Okay, Linux has kernel. The kernel is, what is kernel then? Kernel is heart of the Linux. What it does, it is the one which is doing all the stuff. For example, when you are opening VLC player, I said VLC player. When I say VLC player, it's nothing but a program written in any languages. What happens when I hit VLC player? It needs certain amount of RAM and CPU for this execution. The moment I hit VLC player, I should know whether I have a spree, whether I have some spaces for running in it. Okay, maybe I have loaded the machine with some other activities. I may not have enough RAM to continue with. So at the time, I need to know whether I need a system which has to say whether I have free amount of resources to start my application. That is done by kernel. What kernel does, when an application starts or when an application running in the machine, whatever it is, it keep on track every activities. What it does, when a new system starts, it will check the resources needed for the machine. I mean, resources needed for the machine means how much RAM and CPU is needed. So based on that, it will allocate the CPU RAM to the machine. Okay, and then it will start the application with the resource allocated to it. Okay, so this is heart of the Linux, which does many things in it. So as of now, you can consider kernel as a system which has the intelligence to provide the hardware, I mean provide the resources for an program, resource for your activities. Whatever activities you are doing, for example, if you are typing ls, and I say ls, it's using many things. So we'll just end it. Just end with this. Just one minute. Hello. -ls, it will show what are the list of activities done by a command and how much RAM it's been executed, everything. Maybe we can see this thing later. I think it's our time to end our session today. Do you have any doubts? We don't see much thing in it. Just see the folder location, folder structure. When you have time in home, just go through the videos in the YouTube where they are explaining about this folder structure. Tomorrow we'll be starting with commands. Okay, we'll be starting with the commands. If you have any doubts, you can contact the admin, and where you can redirect your questions in the offline off hours, where I can acknowledge and I can reply back. And if you have any question, just hold for a day, and tomorrow morning we can represent for 5 to 10 minutes for a question ask, where you can ask a question and we can solve it up. Okay. Okay, then I think we are done with today. Tomorrow same time, just meet you. Okay. Thanks for your time. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for doing.
Yeah, thank you.